Hello everyone. Wish you all very good evening and also morning. Let us begin this evening Sutta studies with wholesome thought. It is another Saturday um, that gives us so much opportunity to explore the Dhamma on the basis of Sutta studies, Sutta study class. So I think everyone is ready now to listen to and also comment and share the knowledge of the Buddha's teaching through Maha Saccaka Sutta. So let us begin the Sutta studies now by paying our homage to the Supreme Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I pay my homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, friends, you can see me in different place. Of course, yes. I am from Mississauga Temple today. Throughout the day, I had a meditation program. Now I am in the place given to me to stay, and I'm conducting the Sutta study class from there. Thanks to all the monks of this vihara for providing me such nice facilities. Alright, so the sutta we discussed is Maha Saccaka Sutta. Last week we were able to cover up the first part of the discourse with additional information. Today we plan to finish the discussion on Maha Saccaka Sutta, particularly the second part of the sutta, with a type of summary to the first part of it. I think everybody enjoyed reading suttas because it gives very authentic information about certain Dhamma facts we are looking for, including the stories of the Buddha from the main sources, so that reading suttas is really important. If I give a summary to what we discussed last week, it helps those friends who did not show up last week. So we began the sutta by saying that this sutta tells us how the Buddha started his training with after the renunciation, and it is a form of dialogues. First, the Buddha and also Venerable Ananda. When Saccaka came to the Buddha, that is the second discussion they had. So the Dhamma is delivered by the Buddha by asking questions, and also to the question which put forward by Saccaka. So it's too long. Some answers are too long. Otherwise, it is a sutta that can read within couple of breaths, because we know the skeleton of the sutta. It talks about the Saccaka's and Venerable Ananda's statement, and then Saccaka was questioned. So then we can see Saccaka is talking about the bodily cultivation, Kaya Bhavana. Then the Buddha took it and said that, okay, you are talking about that kind of cultivation. Hear what I say. And the Buddha questions Saccaka about Kaya Bhavana, what kind of Kaya Bhavana you know, what kind of Chitta Bhavana you know. Then Saccaka was speechless, and he started listening to the Buddha about everything the Buddha wanted to say. So the Buddha also took the point from Saccaka about Kaya Bhavana and Chitta Bhavana, and Buddha then uh, spent a lot of time in the Sutta to tell Saccaka that he practiced even Kaya Bhavana to the highest extent. Um, Before that, then the Buddha uh, took Saccaka on the long way in his life, how he came out of the palace and what he was doing after that, and then how he met Alar Kalam and Uttagarambuddha, what he was doing there, and they are also giving us very important factors of Buddha's life, like two attainments and what the Bodhisattva, as Prince Siddhartha, did there, how quickly he got those attainments. These are information. Then uh, he himself, along with the support of 5 monks, he started the self mortification. Um, uh, so then we can see that in the sutta uh, he practiced self mortification to the extent that nobody could do. They are all information for us to actually uh, duel of Shraddha on the Buddha. Uh, in addition to that, we can see three parables of fire sticks. Sticks. Some are not dried, and wet wood, and sapphire wood with wet and then these kind of similes are given a very nice dhamma. These are some of the things that the bodhisattva spontaneously thought about, and it means that uh, he categorized uh, entire community of mendicants into three by having these three parables. One category is that they are having a luxurious life with all kinds of sensual pleasures. At the same time, they are expecting to be in peace and happiness. It doesn't happen because with sensual pleasures we cannot find anything like that in monastic or in lay life. So they are compared to the two woods that are in the water, the wet and also sabi. By rubbing them, we cannot get fire out of it. And the next one was the two woods are not actually the wood is not wet, but it's with sabi and sweet sap and all. It's newly cut so that it has all the things in it, so that you cannot get fire out of it even though you rub it with dry wood. The last one, it means that even though you become a mendicant, even though you become a monk, just by having that only you cannot be a saint, because in coming to monastic life you are still thinking about what lay people do, and your mindset is with the householder life. So the third parable gives the inspiration for the bodhisattva that if we take two dry wood without anything, you can get fire out of it by rubbing together. Likewise, if you stop sensual pleasures through any sensory experiences, you are going to get enlightened. So this is coming in such places of his investigation. Um, so then we can see that the Bodhisattva started his self-mortification. The highlights of the self-mortification is with that apranika dhyana, breathless meditation. I think people do self-mortification into a greater extent in every era, just because they want to suffer this, give suffering to this body for peace and happiness. But the Bodhisattva did it to highest, and nobody can do it. So we can see that breathless meditation is being done by Bodhisattva into such stage, so that his body became like a skeleton. When it is, the um, Sutta says that when he touched his belly, uh, it seems like he is touching back of his body, the spinal cord, something like that. His eyes are like a well with dry water, and then his hands are, like a small stick covered with dust. And sometimes he says, when I rub my left hand by right hand, the body hair comes to his hand because of the type of dryness and also weaknesses he's experiencing. However, the most important thing he says, at all time with any of those difficulties, pain, suffering, his mind was not changed with the final goal. His mind was not shaken by anything because his determination was to somehow attain to enlightenment. He still believed that this is the right path for it. He practiced apranic dhyana. It is said in the discourse that starvation austerity is called starvation austerity. It means that the one who practices it is going to stop eating at all. So these kind of things are recorded in Maha Saccaka Sutta, and a lot of people don't like to hear this, but it has in the sutta. It is about eating on extreme excrement and drinking urine. So the Bodhisattva did that. Actually, urine, if you put into a put it in a box, in a bottle or in a spot, you can, after several days with some mixture, it's going to be a medicine type of thing. So Bodhisattva, as he heard that it is good for self-mortification, he did that. Um, it is it is said that that the Bodhisattva finally came to an understanding that this is the most difficult training I ever have in my life, and as far as I know, no one can do this in human and also divine existence. However, I did not get anything so far in the name of spiritual achievement. Maybe this is not the path. Before that, even people who went there for different purposes said that the Gautama, Gautama is going to die, and divine beings also were not in one agreement. Some of them were saying that the Bodhisattva is going to die. Some were saying that no, he already died. Some were saying that no, this is how the Arhants act. Sometimes they look like dead. So many views, opinions came forward, and at this point, when the Bodhisattva practiced breathless meditation and starvation, austerity, and so forth. Some divine beings came and told the Bodhisattva, if you are not taking food, we are going to infuse the divine oja, divine food through body hair. So at this point, with this statement, Bodhisattva thought that it's not nice if divine being came and give me food in such a way, so that At the same time, he realized that the practice he has been doing was not up to the point. It's futile. It's not good. So that he has already decided to let go of. So these two things happen seemingly simultaneously, so that he started practicing the middle way. It says middle way. In Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, in Arya Pariyesana Sutta, in Maha Saccaka Sutta, and few other suttas tell this word middle way, but we do not find this in many places. Later, it is said either Arya Tangika Magga, or in other words, the essence of the fourth noble truths. So anyway, how he started doing this, that is the place where we need to start today's discussion. How the Bodhisattva started his practice on the middle way. From scientific and also pragmatic point of view, I can say that the Bodhisattva practice middle path for at least 1.5 months. After he let go of the practice of self-mortification, he needs some time to prepare physically as well as mentally, because at the time he stopped self-mortification, his body was so weak. His body was like a skeleton, right? So we can think from different angles that the Bodhisattva took several weeks to get that physical strength, and also the shape of the body were done with that time period that he ate and do other things in the middle way. And um, after doing that, he was physically and mentally were able to focus what would be the right thing for this uh, you know ending of suffering, what could be the reason. Then he remembers at the time he meditated, though it is a very short period of time, on breath and attained to first jhana. That was during the flying ceremony. He was very he was, I think, a few days age boy, which we know that nothing can be done. But this very young, a very small kid meditated and attained to first jhana. So the Bodhisattva remembers that that particular jhana is not something that provoke sensual pleasures. When we attain to it, it is taking us away from sensual pleasures. The jhana is always the solutions for various akusala, various unskillfulness, because without jhana in mind, nobody can actually go forward, and at the same time, jhana is the protective shield for everyone. So Bodhisattva remembers that the first jhana was attained by me when I was such a age, and it could be the right path for ending suffering. With that in mind, he started meditation on the same thing for a certain period of time. So on the day of uh, on the day of on the day he attained to full enlightenment, which is the day of the full moon, he was quite ready for it. This is not in the sutta, but in various Buddhist tradition, it says that Sujata, the a very famous leader-like lady in that area, offered him milk rice, because she was actually, this is not a pre-planned thing. Sujata wanted to give a dana to a particular unseen deity just because she was able to get a son, and after taking some help from the divine being, then she thought that I do my promise one day, and I want to do this. So that's how he entered to the scene. And anyway, uh, we know from the Theravada tradition and also Mahayana and other tradition, there was such a lady who supported the Buddha with food for 49 days. And this is why we say that she was nearing to the start of noble training. With that experience for 2 months, and also throughout his life, this and also samsara, he was practicing necessary conditions for nirvana. On the day, we don't know what he was doing during the daytime, perhaps meditating, because he did not want to eat at all, as he ate the Sujata's offering. It says that the Buddha made 49, small ball-like, pudding and rice pudding, milk rice. Uh, to mean that the bodhisattva is going to sit for 49 days around that area, so that he cannot go on Pindapata. So this is why he was eating 49 rice ball. Anyway, they are not in the sutta. Then on the day he attained full enlightenment, according to the sutta, what he was doing, he he determined again that I practice the Dhamma so far into various, covering various areas of mind, and there was no one in the world who do that. So that today would be the day that I do. The determination came also from that particular incident. Patra, the ball of the Buddha, went upstream, and it to him, according to the stories, it is an encouragement, and it is an indication of encouragement, and also the things could happen today, so that I should sit and do meditation. We know the fact that the particular perseverance is working there. It's called Chaturanga Samanagata Virya. It has four factors. The Virya has four factors. When it is done in such a way, it means that even though my body dried up, I'm going to stay here without moving, and my goal is to attain enlightenment. In other words, it sounds like I do not want this life to continue if not the enlightenment in my experience. So I want to experience enlightenment. Until then, I do not stand up. That's the determination. So then the sutta tells us, sutta tells us that the bodhisattva attained the first jhana, and the second jhana, and the third jhana, and the fourth jhana. That is what the bodhisattva did in the first place. The sutta says, now, when I had eaten solid food and regained my strength, then quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome state, I entered upon and dwelt in the first jhana, accompanied by initial application and sustained application, and with zest, joy born of solitude. So see that the Buddha is talking about the four jhanas as the first, step of the path, so that we can think that the attainment to jhana is required for everyone, no matter which way you reflect on the Dhamma, through direct vipassana or through samatha. Everyone has to experience these particular jhanas, because or the quality of samadhi. Otherwise, you are not going to learn how to eradicate defilement well before you do it. By attaining to jhana, you suppress hindrances, and it is a kind of learning curve for you to do the total eradication of craving. In the jhana, you do it temporarily, but that experience of temporary suppression help you overcome those unwholesome roots completely. So the jhana, the four jhanas are practiced. I like the way the Bodhisattva actually did it. Evaං mudubhute kammani āneñjapa. Evaං samahite citte mudubhute kammani tite āneñjapate. These Pali terms tells us that the Bodhisattva's mind was so clear and bright. Evaං samahite citte. When the mind is concentrated like this, evaං samahite citte, it became so soft, malleable, and then directed to the goal. It came to a state of imperturbability, no waving, no instability at all in that mind. So that's how the Buddha talk about his mind be well before his self awakening. So that's why he was able to put his mind into a position in which he could see his own fast. Saccaka was given so many information by the Buddha about his quest, and now with this three knowledges, in the first part of the night, he was able to direct his mind to see his own past. The basis is nothing but the four jhanas, jhanic experiences. Because we can think from our layman knowledge that the mind is so calm, mind is undisturbed, and there is nothing else in his mind except clarity, brightness, and so forth. So that doing vipassana was easy for the Buddha. Actually, what kind of vipassana he was doing? Okay, now who am I? Who am I, and who was I, and what I was doing when when I was in previous life. Actually, only these statements show us that the Buddha or anyone in other suttas, the same thing is recorded, that we can direct our mind towards a particular end. In the first jhana, in the fourth jhana, the mind is so serene and calm. It is the perfect place for these three knowledges. Even though you take the shortcut, kind of shortcut to nirvana through first jhana by doing vipassana, you also experience this particular one because it is so gorgeous. So Ubbenivāsanussati jnana was attained by the Bodhisattva. We cannot say him as the Buddha because he did not eradicate the third one yet, so that nobody can say him as the Buddha. However, he was directing his mind to see his own past life, and it is said he was reflecting so many lifetimes, so many lifetime with details. Having done this, he realized that this is how I came from long way of samsara. Then he was able to see what happened to the others. Then the other living beings also are on the same boat like me. They appear in one place and live certain number of years and died and reborn and stayed again and die. Likewise, not only myself but everyone else, stay in this cycle with so much suffering. Having realized the first one in the first part of the night, he went to the second part of the night with the reflection of various births and deaths. So having made sure that he has attained to two, now he concluded into a certain extent. He concluded that if I die and if everybody die and reborn again, what is the main cause for this sansaric journey? Then he realized that it is fermentation. It is asava. May take us in the sansara. Then the Bodhisattva categorized that what is suffering? Suffering is nothing but these asavas. And what is the cause of suffering? It is nothing but tanha. And then is there a way to end tanha or asava? Then he found out that the very path that I practice would be the path for full enlightenment. So he saw the Four Noble Truths in the process of gaining asavakya jnana, and there is a kind of such formula there. Asava is nothing but another name for suffering. When asava is not there, suffering is also not there. Then we can see the Buddha is relating to Buddha is telling to Saccaka that I attained to 3 knowledges in the whole night and make sure that I attain to full enlightenment. So that is what we can see in the that part of the sutta. At the same time, another kind of mental investigation was done there. When I knew and saw thus, my mind was freed from the influxes of sensual pleasures, kamasava, and from the freed from the influxes of existence, influxes of ignorance. His mind, got into positions with a strong positions to leave himself from these 4, I would say here 3 sensual pleasures, kamasava, bhavasava, existence, and also avijjasava, ignorance. So he directed his mind to get these 3 root causes of suffering, and he was able to, and at the same time he actually completed his training for long time. So now there is a discussion going on about the Buddha's mental state. The Buddha says that I recall teaching the Dhamma to an assembly of many hundreds, and even then each person thinks the recluse Gautama teaches the Dhamma thinking of me. So something else is said there, that when I went to deliver the Dhamma sermon to a huge gathering, everyone in the gathering feels that I talk to him or her directly. Everyone feels. If there are 500 or 1,000 participants, everybody might feel that the Buddha is talking directly to me. So that is because of the Buddha's skills, because Buddha is talking appropriately up to the point, and the listeners always get the point. So that Saccaka was explain all these things because Buddha wanted to tell Saccaka who am I and what I was doing before the enlightenment and what I am doing now to make my disciples goal oriented. So when you come to the later part of the discourse, you can see, having heard all these things, Saccaka praises the Buddha in this manner. He said that when I ask questions from other religious leaders, such as Purana Kassapa, Makali Gosala, Ajitakesa Kambala, Pagoda Kachayana, Sanjay Bellatibuta, Nigantanaruda, these are the 6 religious leaders at the time. When I go and question them, if the question is too deep, they are not going to answer to me. they might either go to their own sleeping place, and sometime their complexion is going to be wrong, going to be very aggressive because the questions are too deep. So I experienced this very much. But when I questioned the Bodhisattva, the Buddha, the Gautama Siddhartha, on the same line, in the same question, your brightness of the face is increasing, and your words are not, bubble. And what you say it directly, you say it in a beautiful way. So that Saccaka says, "You are marvelous, you are wonderful," and so forth. They are, even though the Saccaka praised the Buddha, he did not actually accepted the Buddha. He did not follow the Buddha's teaching. In that sense, we can see that Saccaka himself knew the greatness of the Buddha, but he was unable to come and tell it because of the mana he had, because of other things he had. So anyway, we can see that the Saccaka went away from the Buddha, and then the Sutta is done. So this is the Sutta in a summarized version. I did not go to details of it since time is not enough for us for such a long one. Anyway, friends, this is what actually uh, we have in the Saccaka Sutta. So the highlight, if we have enough time to talk in today's Sutta discussion, would be the highlight would be the way the Buddha attained full enlightenment. A lot of people have shraddha on what the Buddha did, what the Bodhisattva did, and when we mention about that particular marvelous incident, people say sadhu, 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 but only handful of people understand the marvelous situation over there when he attained to enlighten, particularly his mind. I think to understand it, we have to understand the jhana also, because in the jhana framework, he was doing that. With jhana is the protection. Jhana is like jhana is like the iron shield that he protect from all the attacks from his own kilesa. He was hiding. He was actually going away from the attack of all the possible kilesa by attaining jhana. So we have a theoretical understanding how then the Buddha direct his mind towards Ubbenivasānussati, Cutupata and Asavakya. But there are so many things to discuss in that too. So anyway, the best and very important thing for us to have a discussion on the attainment to the self-enlightenment by the Buddha. So I like to open the floor for discussion if you have any. So I think that would be the best way to have a discussion, because we are in a period where many people celebrate the triple anniversaries of the Buddha's life, and attainment to Buddhahood is the most important thing uh, for us, because if the Bodhisattva did not do that, there is no parinirvana also. So that having learned how the Buddha attained full enlightenment, and we can do it one day. So that let's have a discussion on that.
Bante?
Yes,
Talk?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so the four results of jhana is summarized in Samadhi Sutra. It's these are the four things that can happen. Ditta Dhamma Sukha Viharati, that means present abiding here and now. Knowledge and vision, I think it's called Jnana Darshana. I think there are
Yeah.
special powers like seeing the past births or whatever, and vision, different visions you can get, like the Sota, the Chakku kind of thing. And the third one is mindfulness and clear comprehension. And then finally, the Asavakya, like all the Astravas are gone. So, so, so this doesn't mean the attentive jhana is a temporary state of suppressing the defilement. Doesn't mean you're getting rid of defilement. So you can be in Dittadhamma Sukha Viharati, but you may not get to Asavakya. But the goal is to get to Asavakya, because there are even, I think there was a story, I think Silmata Kai in Thailand, I think she attained these special supernormal powers, but she has jhanas, but only thing she didn't have the insight. So I think you can get, it's a like a kind of a weapon you can have, but which is very, can be dangerous without the insight to balance it, right? So if you have the insight, you are going to go through, you have mindfulness and clear comprehension, and then the asavakya, then that's the insight where you release from entire suffering. In other words, getting rid of all the defilements. So jhana itself doesn't mean it's a temporary shelter. It's okay. It's good to all this. It's a eight factor that you need it. But even Devadatta is supposed to have some jhanas. I think he didn't have all the sealers. So therefore he didn't get it to the asavakya. I think that's what he got into all this trouble, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, if you attain to jhana, it gives so trust on you. It gives a kind of confidence for you that you can attain nirvana if you actually have the nirvana as the goal. This is the thing. The four jhanas are discoveries of the Buddha, Bodhisattva. We do not see that it is being done by anyone before the Buddha. It is very extraordinary to think that how this, I think 6 or 7 days old boy did that first jhana, because nobody taught him, and it's not an age that he could get anything from anyone else. That is because of his sansaric
previous
behavior.
memory. Yes.
So that is the first sign of jhana throughout the entire history of monasticism. And it is strange that why Prince Siddhartha did not practice it throughout the entire his princely life, because he could be able to remember that because the pleasure of first jhana is so much, so that he was able to actually get it. Anyway, the influence he got from the society, that this is the path for nirvana. Maybe that was the reason that he practiced other things. Anyway, having tested everything with him, he thought that this would be. So this gives an indication for us that jhana practice. If we practice jhana, it would be just like the Buddha. It would be the easy and also very marvelous way to enlighten, because Sukha Patipada, there are type of ways to go into the nirvana. Sukha Patipada Kippa Binya. The path practice you have could be very smooth and also very interesting. At the same time, you are doing what you need to do for enlightenment. So I always go for it, because when you attain to jhana, you feel joy, you feel relaxed. And there are also limbs of enlightenment, piti, sambojjhanga, and passaddhi sambojjhanga, and samadhi sambojjhanga. So that the Buddha has given enough evidences from his Saddhamma too, that jhanic experiences are necessary for enlightenment, because without clear mind, without the clarity,
Yeah. I mean,
you
you
are
can't
not in the
bypass.
position to
Yeah.
break those
Yeah.
walls of craving,
Yeah.
walls of ignorance, so that we all know the fact that jhana experiences are learning curves for us.
Yeah. I'm not
Uh,
arguing on that. Jhana,
yeah,
four
I know
jhanas
that. I
are,
know that. I'm
uh,
giving some information.
yeah,
So,
it's
uh,
it is essential. I guess it is the eighth factor, right? You can't bypass that. But the question is, was Arupa Jhana, Buddha learned Arupa Jhana, not Rupa
yeah,
Jhana from the other. So there must be another way to get to Arupa Jhanas without going through Rupa Jhanas, perhaps those
yes,
days.
yes.
Yeah.
Buddha did not recommend it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Buddha did not actually. Buddha did not want to. Buddha did not want his disciples to follow that path because of the problem they might experience. The problem is you might stay there with that joy, but
Mhm.
you are not going to do anything else if you are caught by that pleasure. So that having clearly explained the path for enlightenment, Buddha wanted to follow the necessary condition. Then having gained the four jhanas first, you are safe to experience arupa jhana.
Yeah, the most sutras talk about all four jhanas, at the fourth jhana being the equanimity, or equanimity. What's it? Pali term is for uh, what's the equanimity? Pali term is
Upekka.
Upeka. So the Upeka. So, but I think one sutra talks about the first jhana. You can go through first jhana, but many sutras are like majority sutra talks about all four jhanas. So one sutra, I think, in particular, talking about only the first jhana is kind of enough, giving an impression that by maybe go into vipassana. But again, as you say, you might still need the fourth jhana to have a clear insight. You might get to some insight, but without the fourth jhana, I don't think without upeka, you can get the clear insight for release, I believe.
Yes, that's true. I think this is the case. Suppose we need to get a cup or something on top of a shell. Um, we can get it either by jumping it, or we can get it either by getting into a small chair, or we can get it either by going to the top level of the cupboard using a ladder and so forth. So by every means we can get the cup from the top of the cupboard, but the particular way the safest way to get it by using the ladder and go to the particular place and in a relaxed way takes it and come down. So when you jump, you should have a lot of strength in your body to do that. So when you uh, do vipassana in the first jhana, it may be difficult
Yeah.
for that particular person, more difficult that person, because the status you have in the first jhana is not that refined like in the fourth jhana or third jhana. Okay. So that it is possible, but only for a super skilled people. This is my personal thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you are just away from the five hindrances when you are in
Yeah.
the first jhana.
I think
There
that's
is
I think there's a sutra that supports that. Say easy in the pleasant in the beginning and
yeah,
difficult at the end, kind of thing. So when you get the pleasant abidings, and then you go into difficult with the at the end. Some
yeah. So yes, Attakanagara Sutta, where Venerable Ananda says this thing that if somebody wants to attain enlightenment, he shows different places where he could go, and one is first jhana. Um, but it is good as an statement and the
yeah,
way to nirvana. But I think there are no evidences that people do it. When Venerable Ananda says this as an arahant, he actually, when he delivered that particular discourse, it is said in commentaries that the Buddha passed away and the Venerable Ananda got into enlightenment. Anyway, it is not easy for some people to do because and then at the same time you cannot get into that kind of vipassana on the basis of first jhana just because you attain to first jhana at only one time. You have to attain to it number of time, and you have to be a master on that. And we see these words akicchalabi, akasiralabi, nikamalabi hoti. You have to get the jhanic experiences without much difficulty, even with at will, so without doing so many activities on the meditation, you would be able to do it quickly. That's mean you are a master on it, and only those particular type of people can do vipassana and reach them to either anagami level. So uh, that should be understood in that way, according to my understanding.
I
Uh,
think so.
yeah.
Pleasant, like abiding. I mean, when you are in the first jhana, anyway, your priti sukha. I mean, there's you have to just still come out of it. I mean, you can't go to vipassana once you're in the first jhana, any jhana, right? In other words, I think the it comes to the last one, upeka. Even that, I guess, when you come out of it, only vipassana is possible.
Yes, because once you are in the jhana, your mind is away from the busy nature. So there you have that particular, you have that experience more and more, so that you can type of play with that, so that seeing these nekkamas, seeing these piti, sukha, ekagata, they are of course very enticing and pleasing, but they are transitory, but they are uh, impermanence. They came because they came to an existence just because I tried there. So that type of observation can be done by that way, with that experience. Even with suppose suppose we all got into first jhana 1 hour before this sutta study class. Now we are not in jhana, but we have that experience in mind that we got into. So quickly you got it, that particular sama, I think suppose first jhana is 100%, 100, and when we recall the pleasure of it, it could be 60 or 50. That when you get it at will, so that would enough for you to do vipassana, because your mind is not disturbed by five hindrances.
Yeah,
I
because
think,
you're feeding
yeah,
the mind pretty much with the nutriments like the super nutriments rather than junk food, because you mind has to have the energy, right? That the energy is from the jhanas to
yeah,
self sustain. For like the Nagara, that the Nagara Sutra talks about the special foods, four kinds of food. You don't need the other. I think you're
true.
right. Bante, one question you had a question about why Buddha did not uh, remember when he was a child. So I think the children's past life memories usually fade away after 6 7 years, like a lot of studies by Ian Stevenson. So they don't remember anymore. But maybe as a child he could remember, recall, and go into jhanas. But then he, as a teenager, or whatever, he probably didn't remember all these details. How, but then he remember I at one stage I did this, and there was this. Then perhaps he went back after when he got thought about this as a child. I under the rose apple tree, I did this, and I entered the jhana. So perhaps that's a. I thought that's a explanation.
True, very good. Yes, it could be a reason that he was not able to actually remember it. Maybe he was not using it uh, for the purpose, because, as I said, the social influence was to go and do some that type of exercise, self mortification. So when everybody says,
Yeah.
uh, he was in the same mood
Yeah.
to do that.
Yes.
Once he failed from that, when he realized that it is not the path with experience, he thought that which way he was. I think we don't know how long he was in the first jhana when he was a couple of
Child.
days age boy.
I see.
It couldn't be 1 hour or 30
Yeah.
minutes or 15 minutes. It could be very momentary experience. I mean, how could a lot of women servants forget the baby for a long time and let him stay? Maybe couple of minutes.
Yes, yes, Bhante.
So it was not that significant. But anyway, it was an experience for him
Yeah,
because of his readiness for Buddhahood.
yeah,
So that it is said in many stories, even in Bhuta Dhammasutta in Majjhima, that he was extraordinary when he was coming to this world. This happened after a few days of it.
yeah,
So that then, if he wanted to get all these extraordinary thing, he could have remembered, I came from this mother's womb in such a way, and I was telling this stanza, Gohamasmi Loka, so I know that maybe he was not utilizing all the things he was having in his life.
yeah,
Only thing he wanted, this is the case,
yeah,
even the Bodhisattva's life, we know that he take right decision on right time,
yeah,
depending on causes and condition around him, and as well as to the point.
mm,
I think these are some of the hidden information on it.
yeah. I think the bottom line is, I mean, he has given us, he's gone through everything and done everything and given us the most crystallized and
Yeah,
given a clear roadmap. So I guess we are lucky that way. We just have to follow it, right?
true, true.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'll let you go and ask someone else.
No,
Take over.
I was not able to actually follow everything anybody says, because there are some noises around. Sometime
That's okay.
I miss some words of you. Anyway, that is happening all the time. You don't hear it from the microphone in my computer, but I hear it.
Okay. Oh,
So
sorry about
anyway,
that.
no, yeah. So I see that Viku Mahatya has raised his hand. Please take your time.
Bhante, I think Sister Chandrani raised her hand before me.
Oh no!
I
Oh,
will,
before that, okay, Chandrayana.
Venerable sir, I have a question on this food jhana. I read Parinibbana Sutta recently, and I understood that Buddha's Parinibbana took place in the fourth jhana. Because no thoughts, nothing, and it's a very calm state, and maybe fourth jhana is something that if somebody practices a habitual pattern, habitual karma, it might help them, like we learn Itivito Gata, and when something suddenly happens, we automatically go to repeat it. It becomes a habitual karma. So similarly, can fourth jhana be a way to liberation? That's my question.
Yeah, I got that noise again. So yes, Drew, I heard what you said at first. The Buddha uses Vajjana as the basis for enlightenment, as well as to attain parinirvana.
Parinibbana.
Yeah, which makes us aware that it is a particular place, particular mental state, that things happen in a smooth way. That is a very interesting point too. Uh, it's like anesthesia, right? So when we are given anesthesia, we don't feel that pain anymore. Doctors can cut any part of our body. So when you got into Vajjana, Pubbeva Somanasa Domanasana Attangama, there is no any suffering
No
related to
thoughts,
previous of
nothing.
the
Yeah.
jhana, and there is no anything like that, and your mind is in the perfect equanimity, sati and samadhi, so that the situation of your mind is unimaginable. That's why these words were used by the Buddha, Kammani and Buddhabuche, Ananjapatte. So no jhana is talk about like that. So I think Yeah, fourth jhana would be very interesting. And if you attain to fourth jhana by any means, it's fine, because all the samatha karmasthana and vipassana karmasthana are open for this particular purpose. And we know that Ubatobaga Vimutta definitely experience it, but Panchami Buddha also experience fourth jhana, but not into the extent I think the Ubatobaga Vimutta. However, they have to complete the Noble Eightfold Path to attain enlightenment, so that no doubt that even Panyavimutta, the people who liberated themselves from the 100% development only of wisdom, also experience it, because a lot of people think that Venerable Sariputta do not have that skill to go to the heaven to go. No, he went to. Venerable Sariputta was doing such thing into a certain extent too, but having those experiences, uh, having experience, and if you look at Anupada Sutta, Venerable Sariputta actually mastered four jhanas better than anyone else. He was second only to Buddha in attaining jhana. So I think that if you have habitually attained to all the jhanas, that gives you so much opportunity to sustain yourself on that, and as well as develop others. With the noise, I didn't get the second point you say. Can you ask that
Like,
question?
can we make it like a habitual, like where you can sort of rest and it is like phala samapatti, not exactly, but similar. Uh, I don't know how to put it into words. Venerable.
Yeah, having having done recitation, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, first I know, yeah, you all know, this, that I know that you know this. First we have to attend to first jhana, right? No matter which way
yeah,
yeah, I think if you have any experience of jhana, either by reading, either by having shraddha on this, the recitation might help for us to let go of hindrances. Vimuttayatana
yeah,
Sutta, where the Buddha talks about 5 ways of Vimuttayatana getting into liberation. 2 ways are
yeah,
about while reciting, right? The Buddha or any other disciples recite necessary, so sutras where the wholesome dhamma is included, and you listen to it, and that way you would be able to experience first pamujja, then pamujja piti,
yeah,
passaddi, samadhi. So
yeah,
while you listen to the very nice, soothing chanting, you would be able to get into samadhi.
yeah. But
And,
Venerable, what I do is not anapana.
yeah.
Uh, I use because from small days, when I was meditating, I get the nimitta, like
Mm.
aloka nimitta, and I follow a different pauk method using the aloka nimitta. So that is the difference.
Yeah, true. Yeah, on the way to perfect samadhi, we may have so many things to experience, depending on character type, depending on various karmasthana we take. Our abilities would be different, and if you take dasa kasina, you have a great chance
Yeah,
of
aloka. I take
yeah,
aloka.
yeah, aloka sanya, and you have a
And
great
I
chance
take
of
it with the breath, like breath, there's Vanna Gandha Rasa Oja, that
yeah,
one appears in a circle. So this is how I do it.
yeah, true, true. Um, as long as you know the criteria of right samadhi, you're not going to get out of the track no matter what you do in the cycle. So we have to have those criteria in mind of what the sabdhamma, what is not dhamma. Because I know from my experience that some people who say that they are meditating, even recently told me that I think they are on the wrong track. One lady, I came across one lady from Canada. Uh, Actually, she was doing quite good according to my experience at the very beginning of her meditation. Right now, she said that Bante, my daughter uh, is having a lot of problem from her office. There were two, three people who harassed her in a certain way. Now I'm meditating just to make my daughter stronger, and even if I can, what do you call, take my daughter out from that, I will do that. And she's using her meditative experience. I don't know whether she experienced exactly as it should be, but what she was thinking that she could do, she could use that meditation for such thing, which is, in my understanding, she's in the wrong track. I told her that
Yeah, away from the Eightfold Path. Yeah.
that's right. This is not what the Buddha tells us on the Noble Eightfold about about meditation related to Noble Eightfold Path. This is not what the Buddha talk about Sammasati and Sammasamadhi. We are trying to use some of your skills, if you have, to something you should not do, because you might be accumulating demerits out of this. The skills you have might be going away from you, because
Mm.
the easiest one is not having any skills for samadhi, but trying to get it with right instruction and so forth. So you are easily getting it. But once you lose your samadhi with any demerit, it's so difficult to get it back. So that's why we should not do anything to lose our skills in Saddhamma.
Especially you should be in Sila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as you are on the right, as long as you know the right Dhamma, I think you're not going to get away from what you need to do for jhana or any other high experiences.
That's why I follow,
Yeah.
especially you, Bhante.
Yeah, there are very good monks in the entire sasana who explain the jhana very well. I recently listened to some of those talks. So yeah, we have a lot of sources available in as printed as also electronic sources. So they are guiding sources for us. At the same time, we cannot guarantee that we can read books always, because our eyes are not always as it is as they should be, and sometimes we cannot listen to those talks always throughout the entire life. Our ears might go away, so that better for us to uh,
Yeah.
practice it as much as we could.
My first teacher was Naunya Aridamathero, then Pauk, other teachers. So I prefer, so I listen to most of his Dhamma talks.
I see. Yeah, one of the revered monk in the Sri Lankan Theravada tradition. I think a lot of people admired him because of his consistency on various aspects of the Bhikkhu order and also the Dhamma. I remembered,
especially Abhidhamma. He
yeah, I
explains very
remembered,
well.
yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you.
Bhoma Ping Thiruvan Saranai.
Vimal Mahathir.
Before I go into my question, Bhante, in the Mahamalukya Sutta, Buddha says even through the first jhana you can attain Nibbana, and also through any of the four jhanas.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the fourth jhana. Even from through the first jhana, you can.
Yes. Thank you for telling that source for us. I did not mention it. Yeah, in Mahamalukya.
And also my question is, does it necessarily mean that Buddha was referring to samatha bhavana to attain jhanas?
No, actually, the division of samatha and vipassana is coming to the platform later period. we do not see this division of samatha and vipassana in the Mula suttas, like in Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, Samyutta Nikaya, even Khuddaka Nikaya. We don't see this division very much. It came to existence as two vehicles when the Atthakatha tradition started. I'm not saying that the Atthakatha, the Atthakatha, provide us something against them, but we do not see that in the entire Tripitaka. But it came to the order later period, which is okay, because even at the time of the Buddha, some instruction given for meditation are samatha basis. For example, we can see that the Ganaka Moggallana Sutta, and I can remember other sources right now, but some suttas hint that the instruction given by the Buddha or great disciples to the students of them, they are mostly samatha, because they came to the order from other traditions, so that even though they were ordained, they had to follow certain principles. Samatha would be the ideal technique for them to stay long certain period of time and doing vipassana. Even Meghiya Sutta, we don't see that samatha technique is given for him after the instruction given by the Buddha. But even Meghiya was instructed by the Buddha, stay with Kalyanamitta longer period, practice sila, practice this and that. That is because, excuse me, that is because he needs some sort of practices to suppress hindrances. That would be a kind of learning curve for him to do vipassana. So many individuals who have that quality called uh, uh, what do you call Ugaritanya Vipatichana Neya Padaparama. Neya, those third categories, the people who are in the third category always need some training on certain principles. So we can, and the other thing is that the Buddha recommended the samatha technique into a certain extent, because he was talking about Buddha Anusati, Dhamma Anusati, Sangha Anusati, and all the Anusati. If you look at various sources, he was asking them to do it into a certain extent, not with those words, but in some words, so that it was hidden in the Tripitaka, but the division is very visible in the later period as samatha and vipassana. Somehow, both are required in my understanding. And my way, and the Yuganatha Sutta, look at Yuganatha Sutta, samatha pubbangama vipassana pubbangama samatho, then both together. And Dhammuddacha Vigrahiti, these suttas tells us that some disciples started the meditation with samatha technique just because they need to do more to get their mind into a super state, and then only they can do vipassana. Some started with vipassana technique, depending on their character, depending on their skills, and when they do that, they also got samadhi. Whatever samatha gives is also obtained by doing that vipassana technique. So in my way, I trusted most the Yuganatha, because that is my way, and your ways might be different from my way. So we can see that sources are there in the Tripitaka that the Buddha talk about samatha and vipassana, but that those days disciples had the Buddha and all the arahants, so that people were able to actually meditate well without any problem. They had problem, but they could be solved easily because of the Buddha, because of so many other great disciples, arahants, and so forth. But in later period, we lost that momentum, so that the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, I think, might decide that okay, we divide these two traditions, and maybe one monastery is teaching samatha technique, and let them go to the other monastery where vipassana is taught in a friendly manner, so that they are in a gradual path to nirvana. So this division is made by those people later on, but during the time of the Buddha, we don't see that division too much.
If you have little more time, Bhante, my understanding is, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think the asavakya can be done only through vipassana.
Yeah.
Samatha facilitates it by helping you to suppress the hindrances, the 5 hindrances.
Yeah.
Only through vipassana we can do the asavakya. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So samatha is providing us the background. Samatha is just like the foundation. Samatha is just like the is like a tool for us to do vipassana without any problem, because doing vipassana directly might be difficult for many people, but when you get samatha experience and gain samadhi with that, your mind is not disturbed by anything, so that you could use that vipassana technique based on the samadhi, so that yes, to do asavakya you have to have vipassana definitely, and samatha is providing you that experience
So when
to do it well.
Sorry, go ahead, Bhante.
No, that I was repeating. So yeah, samatha directly, not actually samatha is the technique, but the results of the samatha is samadhi. Samadhi is the clarity of our mind. So with clarity of our mind, we can do a better job in vipassana. But they are correct. The starting point of your meditation would be samatha, mostly samatha, but you have to cross over at some point to do vipassana based on that.
When you talk about satya, or the wholesome state of mind for that matter, to maintain that state of mind, say sati sampajanni, you need consistent vipassana to settle your mind. Through that you can do the vipassana through that way. What I say is vipassana and the mindfulness go hand in hand. It works in tandem.
Okay. You know what? Yes, of course, whatever we have in the Noble Eightfold Path are directing us to take the root causes of suffering, so that we can see that mindfulness is required for seeing the arising and passing of phenomena, panchakhanda. At the same time, mindfulness is trained by doing even looking at the breath. So in Anapanasati technique, it has both samatha and vipassana together. So if you look at Anapanasati in the first couple of lines, you say Digangva asasanto Digang asasamiti pajanati Rasangva. We cannot see any sort of direct vipassana on that. It's mostly samatha, because you look at the breath, whether it is long or short, and you slowly train your mind. And it says that you are practicing mindfulness. And if you go to the Satipatthana, it's a combination of both samatha technique and vipassana technique. In one end, your mind is prepared to gain type of samadhi. On the other hand, it says attikayotu apanasa, atti vedanasva. There is only a body, there is only a feeling, they are just only feeling, not I, me, and myself. So it's a mixture of both samatha technique and vipassana technique. In other words, the Satipatthana series, with the title, it says Sihiya Pituvima, or establishing mindfulness. But at the same time, it is a technique to practice both samadhi and also wisdom. So that even practicing samadhi, we need to have mindfulness, we need to have sammaditi, we need to have sammavayam, we need to have whatever we need to have to practice vipassana, we should have them for even practicing samatha and samadhi.
So this samadhi is only the initial stage, your ultimate objective being the asavakya. Then you have to, through this samadhi, you have to shift to vipassana. Am I right?
Yeah. The line between samadhi and vipassana is not that big. It's a very thin line. You are in samadhi state and you can enjoy that happiness. You can go into samadhi over and over. There you have to see the fleeting nature of samadhi itself. You have to analyze that this samadhi mind is short term. It's not giving us any opportunity to break up. The samadhi itself is not giving us any chance to break up the wall of bhava. So that you have to see the impermanence of some, because seeing the three characteristic is really important. It is the core of vipassana. So you have to see the impermanence of samadhi. You have to see the impermanence of your jhanic experiences. It is not something that you can enjoy always, because once you get it, you enjoy. Second day you get it, you enjoy a little, and third day you are not enjoying that much as you enjoyed in the first day. I mean, this is an example. So over and over you attain to samadhi, you are fed up with that, because it came based on the paticcasamuppada. It came from sources. Yankinchi samudaya dhammam sabbantan nirodhamam. Jhanic experiences is under that principle. So that you fed up with that at some point. Even that lady from Thailand, as Dr. Pial says, in that book, if you read it, you see that she experienced those samadhi and super status. And there is one story she tells. There was a monk who was very good in samadhi. However, that he failed from his samadhi because she had some relationship with a woman in the monastery, so that he failed from it. See what kind of danger you have only with samadhi. So that at some point you have to see the fallacy of samadhi, and should, based on that samadhi experiences, to get out of it by seeing the impermanence, the anicca, and unsatisfactoriness, dukkha, and also non-self, anatta. So unless you do this, you are not going to make it.
Thank you,
It's a kind of
Bhante.
ladder actually. So you are getting into the top of the mountain. You have to have steps on it. Steps are like samadhi.
Thank you, Bhante. To summarize my understanding, samadhi is a temporary thing you achieve through samatha bhavana, which facilitates you to do the asavakya.
Yes, but we should add that even vipassana can give you samadhi.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Consistent vipassana,
Professor,
that,
can we add that according to the Eightfold Path, Samma Samadhi is with three conditions like Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. So when we take all three, what you say is included in there, Venerable Sir.
Yeah, true.
If we take the Eightfold Path, it is three sectors. Like we have to have them together.
Yes. Samadhi,
Vayama, that is Kusal Chitta, and
true.
present moment, and Sati and Samadhi all together.
Yes, as Maha Sutta clearly tells this, that
Yeah.
Uh,
20 ways and
anything,
20 ways.
any
Yeah.
good thing happen in the framework of Noble Eightfold Path. There are three cardinal qualities. That is
Mm.
Sammaditi, Sammasati, Samma Vayam. So it is the sutta to tells that how Samma Samadhi is important and how Samma Samadhi is achieved. So there
Yeah.
Buddha talks about the importance of meeting of these three, Samma Ditti, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Samma Vacha is going to come in that way with the help of these three. These three are the main three qualities in the Noble Eightfold Path. So
Bhuma
yeah,
Pink Venerable Teruvan Saranai.
yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. I think today we have taken a long time. Thank you for your time and analysis. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you very much. And uh, we think that we discussed the main point of Maha Saccaka Sutta into a certain extent. It is a long sutta, though it is in Majjhima Nikaya. Information given in that sutta are really interesting, and the other sutta you could refer to know some information of Saccaka Sutta is Arya Pariyasana Sutta. Because this is the time period that we talk about the Buddha's enlightenment with great enthusiasm, and also the Parinibbana, so that you better read them if you like more information. However, we covered the sutta pretty much, Maha Saccaka Sutta. So hope you understand certain Dhamma facts of the Buddha's life with regard to his enlightenment and what he was doing. I have a lot of Shraddha when I read these discourses, because he struggled a lot, not only for his salvation but for everyone else. So that I always revere the Buddha for what he was doing there. We remember that even in many stories, Yasodhara Yasodhara and Suddhodana and the royal family was looking at Prince Siddhartha's quest uh, by taking information, what he was doing today, and so forth. Those are stories. So this information tells us they were looking at the Bodhisattva's life with type of devotion. And I too feel the same thing, because when I read this discourse, I feel that I am there, and so much strength he had, and we cannot even imagine this situation. Anyway, a lot of Shraddha we need, and there we go to understand the Buddha's teaching with clarity. And when Shraddha and other things develop, it would be easier for us to deal with the five hindrances, Panch Nivarana, and we may experience Samadhi, because I taste Samadhi very much and I like it, not with the attachment, I mean, just because it provides me a very clear mind to understand the Dhamma, and attaining Samadhi is not that difficult if you have the conditions for it. So doing Vipassana is the most important, because it directly uh, uh, help us to develop the Panya Indriya, and not only that, other Indriya as well. But we feel that some sort of craving in our mind would be going away from us when we do Vipassana. For example, when you think that this body is made up of four elements, it has samatha also. Some part of samatha is with this, but at the same time, when you think in such a way, you feel that you should not do that. You should not attach to this and so forth. And if you take Panchakhanda into application, you feel that Vipassana moving in you. When you look at the Paticcasamuppada and try to reflect that, you feel that type of development is taking place in your mind. How do we check? Because you're not going to attach to certain things now as before, because of this training, and you have those measurements in you to check whether you are doing well. So that doing both samatha and vipassana are important, and at some point do vipassana, because it's kind of, it's a type of taking direct medicines to the problem of suffering. So friends, thank you for coming to the Sutta discussion, and thank you, because it helped everyone to understand the Dhamma in different ways, and the blessings come out of it should be with you, and those who listen to the Sutta studies right now without telling even a word, they are also benefiting a lot, and their participation is also highly appreciated. And having said that, I'm going to end today's Sutta studies with so much compassion in mind. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. See you next week. Sadhu.